This is Sky Blues Extra.
Welcome, everybody. I think we'll...
Dino, have you frozen? Dino. I don't know if I've frozen for Dino or Dino's just frozen for me. Oh, Dino's so excited. Well, Dino's frozen, everybody. I think. I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. Unless I've frozen to other people, but massive win for the Sky Blues. Dino, look at him. Dino, what I can see is Dino like celebrating. Is in the middle of what I think we're all doing throughout the game. Fantastic win for the Sky Blues today. How's your heart rates doing, everybody? Hopefully Dino will be back. What a win, though. Heart rate was up to 140. That's why I didn't do a HIIT workout this morning, because I knew watching the Sky Blues is pretty much exactly the same. But everyone get in touch. Sky Blues Extra Live, as always. Let us know your thoughts on the result today, on the performance, who stood out. Max Biamu, of course, getting what ultimately turned out to be the winner. A fantastic finish from him. And Dino's back.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I was halfway through a song and had a power cut.
You were celebrating. I didn't know whether I'd frozen or not, but I was just saying Max Biamu, of course, got what was the winner. A superb finish from him, and after being denied the goal, obviously what we thought he had scored on midweek, for him to get the winner today, and his all-round performance was absolutely fantastic. Dino,
unbelievable. Yeah, what a day for the Sky Blues. It takes the pressure off now a little bit, doesn't it? That was the big thing going in today. We just need to take that pressure off. We're kind of looking over our shoulders a little bit, and now we can sit back and relax a little bit, especially with how many games Rotherham have got now to catch up on.
Well, we can talk about Rotherham's fixture sort of thing. I think it's a disgrace, but no. Do you know what today does? It brings Derby back in the mix. It brings Huddersfield back in the mix. Yeah. It means that it's in our own hands. We go into the next week's game against Rotherham, hopefully with the Rico Arena news officially confirmed before then. What a week this could be. This could be the season-defining week for the Sky Blues this season.
Well, hopefully the players have got wind of the Rico situation, and hopefully that's given them a little spur on to stay in this division, because the Rico is quite big, and it can be intimidating at times if we get the fans in, and being in the Championship is absolute key to that, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, like you say, what better motivation? Do they want 10 to 15,000 in League One, or do they want 20, 25? For big games, because you got to think everyone's been starved of football for a year. Absolutely, no one's been able to go. And I actually went back and watched the last game I went to at the Rico, which was when we beat Bradford. And the pitch was miles better than what I saw today.
That's not an excuse anymore.
No, it's not. But what I mean is people seem to have this idea that the Rico pitch is like so bad. I'm looking at some of the games from when we literally last left the Rico. I'm like, it's fine. Like compared to what I watched today.
Absolutely.
And it's our in our city, but we'll talk about that hopefully more once it gets confirmed. But the game today, brilliant stuff, Dino, man.
Absolutely. Across the pitch, performance is fantastic. None more so than Max Biamu. He was absolutely outstanding today. Like a prime Ronaldo running around the pitch, holding the ball up. Some of the skills on show as well. But the finish, unbelievable finish. He has got that in the locker. We've seen that today. People talk about his finishing. You've seen that. He got his first touch when he got that ball across the defender. The defender was in no man's land. Couldn't put a challenge in and finished with a plum.
Oh, I don't know about you, but as soon as he took that, he showed a little bit of pace enough to get that yard. I then thought goal. I backed him all the way. Like other strikers, I'm not sure whether if it was Tyler Walker, I'm not sure whether I'd be as confident with Biamu. I don't know. I was just like, goal. He's scoring this, Biamu. And then I thought he was going to score the second one. So it was a volley. I thought this is Biamu all over, man.
Yeah,
but I thought that was in, but he could have had a second one. Matty James, of course, could have scored as well with that great strike that hit the post or tipped onto the post, was it? So we had moments, to be fair. We did have moments, but of course, we had to defend resolutely.
It wasn't a prime vintage performance, definitely not. Not like in comparison to some of the ones we've pulled off this season, but it was what was needed today. A real gritty, hard-fought victory with some real stellar performances, especially Biama, as we mentioned. I thought O'Hare had another quality game, never stops running. I thought Kelly was back to his best as well, mopping them in midfield. Still question marks over the defence. Obviously, there's a bit of
well, in the first half, we tried, didn't we? We tried to shoot ourselves in the foot in the first half.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what am I watching? I'm like, and in the second half, actually, Wilson, he did some really good clearances. But in the first half, it was like just trying to shoot ourselves in the foot again. But Kelly, I agree. I thought Kelly against Middlesbrough was really poor.
He was poor, yeah.
But no, today, it just gave us, I think it allowed Dabo to push it more, knowing he had Matty James and Kelly inside.
Yeah, at least one of them's going to cover. And that's the same with McCallum as well. When you have those two, one of them is going to cover that run. Perhaps that goes in behind the wing back, and that just gives you a little bit more peace of mind, especially when you're attacking. And I think that's what's been needed for a while, to be honest.
Oh, exactly. We've been screaming for weeks that we've got playing this wing back sort of this system, and the wing backs aren't getting forward. So then there's just these massive gaping holes. But today, I did feel like they pushed up, especially at the start of the second half. I felt like we were actually trying to play the game in their half a bit more, and we had a bit more joy. But look, ultimately, it was about the 3 points. There's been times this season we've played well and lost. Nottingham Forest twice. We were the better team and we lost. Today, I thought we were the better team. I think Derby are poor. They're right in the mix, but we had to get the win, and we did.
Absolutely. Hopefully, once the table's updated on Sky Sports, I'll get them up for everyone to look at. And it definitely looks a little bit more healthier than it did 3 days ago, that's for sure. But Sky Barami, I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's action. Get your man of the match. I'm I'm back. Get your man of the match in, and I'm really sure I can't get the comments up, Ross. I don't know what's going on. My internet is absolutely having a disastrous afternoon. Here we go. So let's go through some of these comments now. Reece Small, huge win. Max was fantastic today. Elaine Ward, Max, love few love hearts there. Man of the match. Will Green is pretty much echoing everybody. Biamu class today, gives 100% every game. Can't ask for much more than that. Liam Varney, get in there. A lot of people talking about me freezing at the top. Sorry about that.
No, but you know what the thing was, Dean? I didn't know whether, because I was like, I didn't know whether suddenly my internet had gone, so you'd frozen. So then I was thinking maybe I frozen for you. It was a crazy little few minutes, but
I'm back now. That's the main thing. Russ, good to have you with us again. Russ, display good. Biama outstanding, as was Fads and James. Pitch horrible. Yeah, I mean, you can't say enough about the pitch situation. It is pretty dire. Who we got here? Liam saying give Biama a contract ASAP. Would you be in that camp of getting him a new contract?
Well, you know what, the thing with Max is he's proven people wrong, hasn't he? And I think even the staff time and time again. You know what? I think he knows his role. I think as a fourth choice striker, I'd give him a new deal. I feel like Bakayoko is going to leave. I think we need to get another striker in, Walker, Godden, someone else, and Biamu.
Absolutely. Tom's with us. Good to have you in the comments rather than on the live, Tom, because otherwise we definitely would have lost. Massive win. Max, absolutely clash. Club legend. Definitely. I mean, incredible. He puts his heart on his sleeve every time he wears a sky blue shirt, and that's all we can ask for, isn't it, really?
Exactly, yeah.
Mick, Biama and Fads have been immense today. Everyone ran their socks off, totally deserved the win. A massive 3 points from Mad Hat and Mick. Great to have you with us, Mick. Hopefully we'll see you back at the Rico soon, waving those scarves around, bringing the atmosphere to the games. A lot of people have been talking about the stand situation at the Rico. Would you be opening that north stand again and getting fans closer to the pitch?
I think, look, in the Championship, if we could sell, I don't know, 10,000 season tickets or something and push to that sort of figure, I think, if we were getting 18, 19,000, say, at base level, it's going to be filtering round behind the goal anyway. But I do think the atmosphere has been good when they've packed everyone into that one stand. I do. I mean, I think of Think of Preston North End in the JPT. Ever since they did that, even if you've only, I remember going with Tony Mowbray, 7,000 on a Tuesday night, and it was rocking. A bit like St Andrews. There was games where it was rocking. There were some games when it wasn't. The fans make the atmosphere. I've never bought the Rico Soulless Bowl. I've never bought it because it's the fans make the atmosphere. And that as simple as that.
Some great nights there. I mean, the atmosphere and some of the nights and some of the occasions, even like those scrappy 0-0s that were chasing down the 90th minute, the atmosphere is electric sometimes.
The atmosphere when Yakubu was just walking around on the halfway line was unbelievable. But no, look, the away games are just you can have 2,000-3,000, and if the fans are going for it, I just think the biggest problem was before when I used to have a season ticket and stuff. The football was dire, and there wasn't.
I think people forget we were in League One and League Two when we were in the last time we were at the Rico.
Yeah, exactly. The last time we were in the Championship, we were still, there was some good atmospheres when we beat Leeds, McSheffrey in the last second. There was. And that was when the fans were spread around. So we've not actually been in the Championship having, say, 16,000 home fans blocked in. I'm buzzing for it.
Absolutely. Let's get some calls into the show. Let's start with Glenn this week. Glenn, fantastic win for the Sky Blues. You must be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, it was a great result. I think Rotherham not playing today actually made it a bigger game for us than it would be if I had been playing. Because I think we've now nailed 3 points, brought Derby back into it, brought Forest back into it. Sadly, it looks like Blackburn might be pushing the way out of it, but we've pulled 2 back into it. Huddersfield blew a good opportunity last night.
That's the perfect week. It's been the perfect weekend, hasn't it? Sheffield Wednesday lost, Blues lost, Derby lost, Forest lost, Huddersfield draw. It's been absolutely perfect.
I mean, it's like even Rotherham winning Wednesday night actually wasn't the worst result because it nailed Sheffield Wednesday. It just next week's massive. If we can win there, that's particular. I think next week is going to be that we need to do back-to-back wins, and
we've not done that all season, have we?
No, I mean, we need to do that, and that's what I think. I think even if the Championship, if you don't win 2 games, even if you draw 2 games, teams overtake you. And like QPR strung 4 wins in a row and got up. Derby haven't won for a few games; they've dropped back down. I'd say Sheffield Wednesday have lost a couple. Rotherham had lost 5 in a row, win, and then everyone's talking that they're going to stay up. But yeah, it was. I said Tuesday night. I didn't think maybe a few of them had the stomach for a relegation battle. I think they showed today. They to a man they worked their socks off. I think Rooney actually got it wrong. I think he tried to play on our weakness down the left side, and I think that kind of backfired on them. I don't think they were anywhere near as effective as I thought they would be. I think
some of their best players this season were started on the bench, and that says a lot, doesn't it? Derby, probably don't think they're in this relegation battle, but they are. They really are. And on today's performance, you've got to say that that they're going to be struggling to stay up.
Yeah, I think with them, they're going to cause problems with Kazim Richards. You guys were saying if we want a striker next season, I would like someone in his mould, but probably a bit younger. Just because he's physical, he's got a bit of pace, and we don't have that. Walker's got the pace, but not the physicality. Max has probably got a bit of physicality, but no pace. And Godden's obviously got neither, really. But I thought they were only going to... We let them create the pressure. We let the fullbacks come on a bit too much. I don't want to go on about the subs, but if you're going to put Alan on, why didn't you just tell Alan to go and pin one of the fullbacks back? Go and stand on Nathan Byrne. Because that was the only way they were going to get in the game. The fullbacks were the only ones who were causing any damage to us, and we just seemed to go really narrow and let them back into the game. And
I thought Josh Pass, when he came on, played superbly.
Yeah,
he really nullified any threat down that left-hand side.
Yeah, the pleasing thing is there's a few players who've come back in who Robin seemed to have written off, and for one reason or another they've come in. Pask, I think, never lets the team down. I would give him a crack in the summer. I think there's obviously going to be at least a 1 position in our back 3 up for grabs, because I'm not convinced Ostergaard will come back, and maybe it's going to be a season too far for McFadzean. And I think, although everyone before the game was moaning Max up front on his own, I think actually he's got better at the role the more he plays it. Yeah. I remember seeing him. I think his first game of the season when we come back into League One, he played up front on his own, and I don't think he was that good at the role. But I think he's got better, and I think he's one of the best one-on-one finishers we've got. You look at his chances he scored, and he scores important goals for us. He does what Godden did last season. He scored goals that mattered, and that's the key thing with any good striker. It's all right scoring a goal when you're 3-0 down. It doesn't really matter. Whereas Max, you look at most of the times he scored the first goal and important goals. And last season he scored a lot of similar finishes to that. Good finish, stuck it through the keeper's legs. Great finish. And you're right, I probably would have him. The current strikers we've got, aside from Godden, but even Godden's a very streaky striker. I think Max consistently is, and I think the chances he misses are the ones that he takes first time where it's instinct, which he probably isn't a natural finisher. But I think when he's got a bit of time, he set the keeper up perfectly and just slid it in. It was a great finish, and yeah, it's all the pressure's on Rotherham next Saturday, and I thought we actually handled the balls in the box quite well, which was my worry that we were going to struggle with teams sticking it on us, and I thought the back three was superb. I still have reservations about McCallum, but he's the only left wing back we've got, so we're going to have to get by with it. But I think teams are looking at that as an area where they're going to target us.
Absolutely. Glenn, great to have your thoughts again on SkyBluesExtra. I really appreciate you coming on the show again this evening. Give us your thoughts. Stay safe out there. Glenn, you made a couple of good points there. But the first point I want to make is Glenn said he had thoughts, were the players up for the fight? Did they have the stomach for the fight? And it's obvious to me that, through the press talk with Robbins yesterday, through Kelly's quotes as well, there's been some harsh words said this week at Brighton, and that's what was needed. We've got to go into these next games with a lot of fight, desire, and determination.
Look, I was getting, I was getting really frustrated with the sort of this. I don't know, just a couple of games. We beat Brentford, and then we sort of just sleepwalked our way through the next 3 games, really, and just went through the motions. It looked like, I thought, and look at Wickham. I don't really like Wickham, right? And they're adrift at the bottom. Their Twitter does my head in. But you know what? Their manager, and some people will say he's deluded, but they're still talking like, yeah, we're going to stay up. And I'm thinking that I was not hearing any of that from us. I was just like, whereas actually this week, I'm glad. I hope this thing of, look, we can't be fearful. I'm thinking, good,
it's kind of turned, hasn't it? The attitude has changed a little bit.
It's like, we've got to go out there and we've got to pick up the points. Like we've said it for weeks. 2 months ago, Dino, we were sat here and we were speculating how many points we need. Since we said we needed probably about 5 wins, we've probably got a couple of them. We need another 3.
Yeah,
and I genuinely think that this month, Rotherham, Luton, Wickham, if we get 7 points from those, happy days.
Should be enough,
yeah.
Well, you hope. Well, it'll be enough on the grand scheme of things that we should get more points towards the end.
Even if you picked up one more win. Yeah.
Something will happen, definitely. Let's go through a couple of more comments before we get Mark onto the show. Reese McFadzean was fantastic today against a big unit, Kazim Richards. Not sure what's going on with Colin Kazim Richards' hair today.
I don't know. No.
And what's with the cutting out of the socks as well? I don't get those holes in the back of the socks. Did you notice that?
I didn't actually. Have a look now.
Have a look. Yeah, he cuts out holes in the back of his socks. I'm not sure why. Scott Lymouth, superb battling performance. Not a pretty one for sure. Max. What a legend. Absolutely. Josh Moore, Skyblues Army. We'll be all right, lads. Luke Carpenter, Max Defo, man of the match. Mark, it's pretty much Max on the comments.
Yeah, and so it deserves to be.
Absolutely. Hope the Biama beaters give the lad a break now. Max was immense today. Kevin Crossland from across the pond. Great win from Summerside, Canada. Great to have you with us, Kevin. Hope you're enjoying the show. And we'll go to one more comment before we go into the next call. Roman Grant, Biama was outstanding today. Deserves another contract. I wholeheartedly agree. Right, let's get Mark on the show. Mark, welcome to Sky Blues Extra. You must be buzzing to come on when we've won a game.
This is the first time I've come on when we won a game as well. Every time I come on and I speak to you, we lose. So it's nice to come on to you when we win.
You must be happy with that, though. It wasn't like the world-beating performance that you might come to expect with the Sky Blues, or want from the Sky Blues, shall we say? But it was enough that was needed today.
Yeah, well, I think we don't really care about performance. It's about results in the day, and it's about winning. I think Tuesday was a really disappointing performance, but we bounced back really well today. And apart from maybe a couple of times the first half where we a couple of misplaced passes from Wilson, and we could have gifted him an equaliser. Other than that, I thought second half in particular we defended really well, and I think I definitely echo all the comments about Biamo. He was definitely his best game for the club today. I thought he played well against Middlesbrough as well. But I've been a big fan of Biamo, and I think that's why Robbins picks him with that 5-4-1, because he knows that Biamo will run his socks off, and he brings other players to the game. So I looked at the team at the start of the game and I thought this looks quite defensive. I wouldn't have gone with the way they went. I would have gone two up front. Having said that, I thought Walker was poor, in my opinion, on Tuesday. So I understood his thinking, because I think what James and Kelly do is they give you that bit of control, and I thought James as well was very impressive today. Just the way he,
it's a calming influence, isn't he?
Yeah, what he's good at is he gets hold of the ball, he's strong, and he picks a pass. He always picks the right pass for me. And that's something we sometimes, when we're on the back foot in games, we give the ball away too easily. But he has that real presence about him, and nearly scored a great goal, obviously, when he hit the post as well. And I think Biamo and James in particular for me were absolutely fantastic. I think McFadden as well. I thought he was great as well. I thought first half, McCallum for me was getting roasted a couple of times by their wide right player. I think it was, I can't remember his name, the number 23, and he struggled a bit. I thought. But I mean, I'm sort of nitpicking, really. I think the bottom line is that's a massive 3 points with Birmingham losing today, and obviously we've got a huge game at Rotherham next week. So
you say a huge game against Rotherham. There's talk now that game could also be cancelled, depending on the situation with the COVID results. And Rotherham in a very sticky situation, aren't they? That's going to be about 14 games they're going to have to play in 50 or 52, 53 days. That's going to be near three enough in a week, and that's going to be really tough for them to maintain the quality that they're going to need to stay up. And for us, I'd rather have the points on the board than be in their situation.
Absolutely, yeah. Totally
well, especially they need to win the games. Like last season, it was sort of, we had the games in hand. It was one of those like both teams were winning. Whereas like this season, wins are hard to come by, and if we can beat them, if the game goes ahead, they know they have to win all 3 games in hand. Like they're must wins. That's a pressure which, I mean, they've won 9 games all season. So I agree. I think points on the board, I'd much rather be in our position.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the situation. We're six clear of Rotherham. They've got 3 in hand. If the game does go ahead next Saturday, I think looking at the glass half empty, I would say I would take a point at Rotherham, and then because they need it more than us. But I think what I liked about today, if I go back to today's game, was the fight we showed. We absolutely fought for that win today. Yeah, we wanted it more than Derby today. I thought Derby second half were very, very poor, but that's to our credit. I thought we defended really well. I don't remember Wilson making a single save in that second half.
Couple of nervy moments there, weren't there? Especially with the crosses situation. He obviously doesn't like to come out for crosses that often.
No, he doesn't.
The return of Lee Burge.
Yeah, well, he's not as bad as Burge, but anyway, I agree what you said about Pass coming on. I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, I thought he played really well.
I thought to me, defensively, he's really good. I do feel we have a problem on the left hand side of McCallum. I'm not a massive fan. I think Heim had a better game today, but he's had some pretty off games as well this season, and I feel that is still a concern of mine, and I think it always will be a concern because there's just no competition for that position because McCallum knows he's got no one pushing for his place. He's guaranteed a starting position every game, but anyway, I think let's not dwell on the negatives. The positives is we won. I don't really give it. I don't care what anyone says. It's a massive win. So.
Huge win for the Sky Blues. Mark, brilliant contribution as always. Thanks very much for,
Cheers, Mark.
for taking the time. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, I mean, again, brilliant contribution by Mark, and what he says is, pretty much spot on each week. The McCallum situation, I understand where he's coming from, but this is a guy who is still, to an extent, still performing. He's not getting the same positions he did last year because we've been reining back how we play a little bit, but he's still putting in decent performances. Don't you think?
I just think, do you know what? It's not necessarily the fact that about him getting forward as much. It's just, I think the delivery, and this goes for a few players today, but also the last few games, I think the delivery of his crosses have been shocking. And it was from Hamer, free kicks, mate. They weren't beating the first man every time. And you're just thinking, a good delivery. When was the last time Ostergaard looked like he was going to score? Earlier in the season, every set piece, at least every game, once or twice, Ostergaard would go, "Oh, that's a chance." That's just gone. I think the last one was probably Cardiff when he hit the bar. But I just think I don't know. Dabo as well was struggling to get past this man. I feel like going forward, it's obviously not quite clicking. But I think defensively, it does worry me that McCallum and Hyam, the ball seems to go between the middle of them. And I was thinking, what is going on? But he's doing all right, though. He's a young lad. And
he's obviously come from non-league only 3 years ago.
A lot of games. I just think, and obviously the problem, well, not the problem, but the thing that in his position, there is no one else. So if he's just got to play through bad games if he's having them, but look, he does a solid job. He wins headers, I
think it's probably a lot of expectation on him because he had such a good season last year. And we're not at the same level. It's a totally different level. A lot of players are still finding their feet. It's going to take a little while to bed in a full season for most of them, definitely. So maybe it's not his level yet. Who knows? But he's coming along for the ride, and hopefully he can help us stay up.
I think he'd be fine. I just think I'm just not sure about the system anymore. I'm not. We got the win today, and I hope we just stay up, and I believe we will. But it's just, I don't know. I said to you last week, Dino. Last season, we won 14 games by 1 goal. It wasn't like we were scoring loads of goals. And this season, the Championship, if we concede a goal, it's like we need to score 2. And I just feel like maybe he would be better as a left back. Yeah. But I think you're right. A lot of players are adapting to the league. I think they'll be better for it next season, which is why if we can stay up back at the Rico, players like Callum O'Hare, a full season of Championship at the Rico Arena. I mean,
I look at players' performances and I think they probably give a 10-20% more if they have a crowd behind them.
Absolutely.
I think that's the one thing that's missing. Just that you get that, but you obviously you hear
adrenaline
all the time, don't you? It's a boost from the crowd. The crowd of the 12th man, and I think that's what we're missing this year massively because the Sky Army are second to none, aren't they?
Oh, they are. I think what the crowd brings is that urgency. Of course, mistakes do happen with crowds, but I don't know. I feel like with certain games this season against Middlesbrough and Norwich, how we get stuck in this little rut where we sort of are sleepwalking through a game, and I'm thinking, how are we going to change this? And sometimes I feel like the crowd can just be like, "Come on," whatever it is, and we just you sort of G the players up a bit. And I feel like that. I agree, and that's why I can't say I've hopefully enjoyed the season because I want to go to the games. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like the players are missing it. We've seen Dabo and other players on Twitter saying how much they miss the Sky Blue Army, and that's why hopefully next season back at the Rico, in the Championship, that they're going to see the Sky Blue Army in full. Because a lot of players have only seen 5,000 of the Sky Blue Army. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, let's get Josh in. Josh has some thoughts on the system on Tuesday night. What about the system today, Josh? Do you think that helped today?
Well, it was funny enough. I was going to put the same question to you guys, really, about whether this is something you would stick with. Because although don't get me wrong, it was a fantastic result, and the performance wasn't all there. But who cares? Quite frankly, it's a 1-0 win. I'm not entirely convinced it's something I would stick with. I mean, Biamu, when Derby started playing a high line, today. I have to admit, I was worried because I thought, oh, they've got our number here, because I didn't think Biamu had it in him to sort of have that pace to get above.
Got to keep the
beyond
faith, Josh.
But, well. I mean, let's be honest. I want to continue the Max Lovin, to be honest, because I just think he's just, he's obviously been capable of moments of like absolute magic, and but I think we'd admit he's not like technically our most gifted player, but he just works his backside off for the team. And I think, is this necessary? It might be that I just want to think this, but I really think he does it for Coventry City. He does it for the club because there's a relationship there. And it just goes to show, it's not all about, pure, skill and, absolute talent. But if you're willing to put a shift in, you can get just rewards and, be loved by the fans. So I just want to give huge credit to him, and obviously huge credit to Robbins, because like I said, whatever the talk about the formation, but also the mentality from Tuesday, he's obviously managed to turn that around with them, in the space of a few days. And, 4th year anniversary, what a thing to provide.
I think you make a really good point there about, it's not always down to individual attributes, but if you've got the passion and desire like Max has,
Yeah.
I think as fans, that's all generally what we want to see. We just want to see someone fight and die for the shirt, basically, and that's what he does. And I can't have any problems with what Max does. It's just like, and today's show is just absolutely superb. I mean, you run out of superlatives for him for his performances.
Absolutely,
honestly.
And you always feel he pushes himself to his absolute limit. I think part of the conversation we've been having about Hamer this season is, we think he's obviously our best. Well, I think he's probably at his peak our absolute best player, but that despite the fact he's not been awful in the sort of past few months, you feel like he's got more to provide. He's got more potential there. Whereas with Max, you just feel like every game, even if it's not, he doesn't make a massive impact, you feel like he's pushing himself to the limit. And let's not forget, he's still carrying that injury. So it's just, I just think, huge credit to Max. And, I think did he join us with Robbins? I think it's 4 years.
League Two, wasn't it?
League Two, League Two. So Robbins joined, and then the season we dropped down, that's when he signed. Yeah,
absolutely. So what a fantastic servant to the club. Really.
He's brilliant. When you look at him, Liam Kelly and Hyam, all players who signed in that League Two season. I mean, we'd have probably had our doubts about any of those three, making the step up. Let alone Max, and Max would have been right at the bottom, because people were questioning him in League Two, weren't they, until he scored that goal. Yeah. So it's amazing what he's done, and I totally agree, Josh, that he just seems to. You always just feel like he leaves no stone unturned. He just gives it everything. Now he might do a bad touch, he might not have the best game, but you always just feel like he's going to fight for this club. Like and he'll do everything he possibly can. And as a fan, what more can you ask for than that, really?
And it is is exactly what we need right now. We need fighters, and that again is the standout today. I think Kelly and James, they're fighters. They fight for the shirt. They're going to put a shift in, and they're able to respond to a bad performance, a bad result on Tuesday. So like I said, I think although we've also got to give credit to the players, we also should give credit to the man management, Mark Robbins, because he's managed to get something out of them after Tuesday. So huge credit. But I'm not sure. Would you guys stick with the formation? Because although like I said, it's got us the results today, but I'm not sure it's something I think there's a slight lack of ambition in it.
Do you mean this season, Josh, or do you mean like longer term? Do you mean like for the remaining games?
Well, I think for the upcoming games, is that something you'd want to stick with Rotherham? I'm less convinced by that, because I think eventually we'll get caught out. But
against Rotherham in the home game, I remember we went 2 up top and we absolutely battered them. Exactly. And we dealt with their high balls. The one thing I want us to stop doing is giving away free kicks. I feel like we're inviting these set pieces, and Rotherham are going to play on that. So I personally, if Matty Godden is fit, I want to see Max Biamu and Max Biamou and Matty Godden up top with O'Hare behind, and I'd drop Hamer, I would, and I'd have Matty James and Kelly sitting with the wing backs.
You just want to be solid, don't you? That's your thing.
Solid, but I think
solid,
if Matty Godden is fit, I think Max Biamou is the perfect foil for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've got that previous, because they've developed together in the previous season. I think I'm always anxious about Matty Godden because obviously of what happened again in the last time we brought him back. So I do think Robbins has got to be really careful with that. But obviously, I think we'd all love to see him back and scoring for us again. But
brilliant to see him on the bench today. It just shows he's now on the precipice now of getting back involved with the team. And we're going to need him, aren't we? You've got some massive games coming up. He's going to get a chance at some point, surely.
Absolutely. I think a bunch of people, myself included, really ruled him out for the season. I just thought the way they were talking and the sort of the worry that
injury
was coming from Robbins, it seemed like he was gone really. But so to have him back it feels like a bonus. And I still feel, if Matty Godden can get back to his best, we still have yet to have had our strongest team this season, because Matty Godden at his best is a top level striker, and I think he will be able to make the jump. Well, we know he's able to make the jump to the Championship because he started so well. So yeah, fingers crossed we can get him back.
Fingers crossed indeed, Josh. Thanks for your input as always, mate.
Josh.
Really appreciate you coming onto the show. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thanks
Have a good evening.
No you well.
So, we've talked about McCallum. A lot of people are saying obviously we've got Reed on the sidelines. I know he's injured at the moment, but Sam's looking forward to see what he can do in that position next season. I wouldn't say McCallum will be back with us next year, unless something drastically changes. But he's looking like a really good option at left back as well, and there's high hopes for him, isn't there?
Yes, exactly. He's another young player who the recruitment have found. I think if McCallum doesn't come back, then they'll be signing another left back. I don't think Mason out of contract, or I think he's out of he's finished. Brandon Mason. So I think we'll sign another left back regardless. I guess the question I'd ask you, Dino, is if we had the opportunity to get McCallum back or a different left back, would you rather stick with McCallum, or would you try someone new if recruitment have got somebody?
I think it depends on the centre half for me, because I'm not sure we're high on at the moment, if I'm brutally honest. And I think he's getting caught out too much because McCallum is, for me, always 10 yards ahead of where he should be. So if there's a new sort of left-sided centre half, or if we revert back to 4, then potentially I'd want to see someone different than McCallum, to be honest. I don't think he's really hit the heights that I wanted him to. And that shows because Norwich wouldn't have got rid of him this season if they didn't think he was good enough for the Championship. And I just feel like he's going to need maybe another season in the Championship to be a top draw left back. But I don't think he'll be with the Sky Blues if I'm perfectly honest.
It'll be interesting to see what happens once it's in the summer.
A couple of people are saying I've got some thoughts on McCallum. Michael's thinking that he's been poor in the last 3 seasons, but let's stop the McCallum talk, because it's a little bit of negativity creeping in to what is a great day for the Sky Blues.
Oh mate, you couldn't ask for better results. I mean, it literally is a perfect day. It's the best we could have hoped for.
I want to try and see if I can share the table. I've never tried this before. It's a new feature on our streaming service, so I'm going to see if this works. Can you see that? Is that coming up?
Yes, I can. Oh,
I can't see what it looks like, if I'm honest, but there we go. As long as it looks okay, but there we go. So 6 points clear of Rotherham. Obviously, they've got those 3 games in hand. But as we said earlier, it's brought more teams back into the fold now. Forest, Huddersfield and Derby themselves are back in this relegation fight. Do you think Sheffield Wednesday are probably too far away now?
I I feel like they look just in a rotten place, don't they? I'd probably say, I think when I was watching their game against Rotherham, it was actually quite a good game, quite an entertaining game. Obviously, a draw would have been ideal, I think, in that game. But the fact they got caught out with an extra man, at that point, I did think they were done. I think Sheffield Wednesday are done. So I think it is one of Rotherham, ourselves, Birmingham, Derby, Huddersfield.
Let's put you on the spot then. Who do you think is going to be the one
to go down? I'll stick with Rotherham.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Birmingham. I think they've outstayed their welcome in this division for too long.
Birmingham are like what we were for 4 seasons before we finally got relegated. Like just survive. Do you know what I mean? Like not doing anything and then eventually succumb to the. I don't know. I just think Rotherham. I don't know. It's probably out of them or Birmingham. I just hope as long as we're nowhere near it, happy days.
Do you think that game next week against Rotherham's going to go ahead?
That's a good question because they're not supposed to be training, are they?
No.
My first thought was
positive for us. If they're not training, they're not going to be able to work on stuff, are they? And game plans and setups and stuff, and fitness levels as well.
You know what? I actually don't know. I'd probably say yes. I think it will go ahead. But I mean, if it doesn't, then we've got Luton will be the next game. But
shouldn't they be playing these games anyway? Surely they've got big enough squad. If
I thought the EFL said,
players.
Yeah, I thought they said that if you got 14 fit players, the game goes ahead. I thought that's what they then came out and said. But Rotherham, I mean, it's happened. It's not like this is the first time. Yeah. How many games have they had rearranged? I mean, it's just it's either COVID or waterlogged pitch or snow. I'm just thinking, Rotherham, man. And I want Rotherham to go down because they've never played at the Rico. Their fans, they've never played.
No. Hopefully, we need to be back there first. Let's make sure of that. Let's start wrapping up. Ross, final thoughts on today's action, please.
Huge win. It's what we wanted. Going to get a nice gin and slim. Enjoy the rest of my Saturday evening. Max Biamu, I love you. Play up Sky Blues.
Yeah, give him the keys to the city. Thanks as always, mate, for coming on to the Sky Blues Extra Live. Sky Blue Army, the podcast will be out on Monday, where we review this week's action. So look out for that. And of course, we'll be back next Saturday, as long as the game goes ahead against Rotherham, for another Sky Blues Extra Live. In the meantime, stay safe out there and play up Sky Blues.
Let's Sky Blues.